English for years. You can read the New York Times. You can watch Netflix without the subtitles. You feel ready.
You've done the homework.
Exactly. You've done the homework. But then someone looks at you and asks a simple question. What did you do this weekend? And suddenly, nothing.
The freeze.
It's not just silence, though. It's loud inside your head. You're, translating from your native language. You're shuffling grammar rules around like a deck of cards.
Searching for that one specific verb.
Yeah. And by the time you actually open your mouth to speak, the conversation has already moved on.
That is the classic definition of the intermediate plateau. It's that really frustrating gap between passive understanding, which is high, and active production, which is lagging.
It feels like being trapped behind a glass wall.
It does. You can see the conversation, you understand it, but you just can't quite touch it.
Yeah. Well, today, we are smashing that glass wall. We've gone through a stack of sources that are honestly a masterclass in breaking out of that trap. We're looking at everything from the psychology of your inner voice to a really wild case study of a guy who used AI to replace a human teacher, all the way to, the specific vocabulary that makes you sound like a local.
And the mission here is different. We aren't going to give you a list of irregular verbs to memorize. This is about a system.
Right.
It's about shifting from just learning English to actually living in it.
And getting there requires a pretty radical shift in identity, which we'll get to. But we have to start with the mechanics of that freeze we just talked about.
Yeah.
One of our sources, Dasa Daily English, calls it the translation trap.
It's a perfect name for it. Think about your brain like a computer. For most adult learners, your native language is your operating system.
Always running in the background.
Always. So when you try to speak English, you're essentially running an emulation software on top of it.
Which eats up all your processing power.
Exactly. You see a red fruit. Your brain thinks of the word in your native language first. Then it looks up the code for English. Then it retrieves the word apple.
That's a lot of steps.
It is. That extra step is milliseconds, but in a flowing conversation, those milliseconds pile up into seconds of silence. That's the lag.
So Dasa says the only way to fix this is to rewire the connection. You have to stop the translation process entirely.
Which, I know, it sounds a bit like saying just stop being anxious.
Easy to say, really hard to do.
It is hard, but they offer a very specific technique called the inner narrator. And I love this because you can do it anywhere and nobody even knows you're doing it.
This is the voice in your head strategy.
Right. We all have that internal monologue. I'm hungry. That guy's driving like a maniac. I need to buy milk.
And usually that voice speaks your native language.
The strategy is to consciously hijack that voice and force it to speak English.
But you have to start small, right? You can't just jump into debating philosophy with yourself.
That's where people fail. They try to translate these big, complex thoughts. Dasa suggests starting with the mundane.
Okay.
You wake up. Instead of letting your brain run on autopilot, you think explicitly, I am waking up, I need to brush my teeth.
Or when you're walking down the street. I actually tried this. It feels a little weird at first, but you just name things.
Like what?
The sun is bright, that bus is blue, the pavement is wet.
It feels weird because it's so deliberate. But what you're doing is building a direct neural pathway between the observation, the bus, the sun, and the English word.
You're cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. You're cutting out your native language.
They also mention visualization, which ties into this.
Yes. When you learn a new word, don't link it to the translation, link it to the image.
So if you learn apple,
visualize a shiny red apple. You paste the English label directly onto the JPEG in your mind.
There was one more piece of advice from Dasa that I think is a game changer, specifically for smart people.
Oh, absolutely. The smart person trap.
Because in your native language, you're articulate. You can express nuance. You don't want to say, I'm experiencing a significant amount of fatigue due to the cumulative stress of my professional obligations.
Which is a beautiful sentence.
It is. But if you try to translate that word for word into English while you're speaking, you will crash and burn.
You'll get stuck on cumulative or obligations. A native speaker, even a smart one, often just thinks, oh, I'm so tired, long day.
So the lesson is, be humble. Simplify the thought before you speak.
Right. Strip it down to its core meaning. Subject, verb, object, get it out. Fluency is about flow, not about winning a Pulitzer Prize for every sentence.
Okay, so that's the mental groundwork. Stop translating, start narrating, simplify. But now I want to get into the heavy lifting. We found this incredible case study from a source called English Avenue. It's about a learner named Liam.
Liam is fascinating. He represents the modern possibilities of learning. Went from zero to fluent, without a teacher, without a classroom, basically just using AI.
But before we get to the how, we have to talk about the why. Because Liam didn't just decide to learn English for fun.
No, he had a pretty traumatic wake-up call.
A medical emergency. His mother started having severe chest pains.
Yeah, and they rushed her to the hospital, but the doctor on duty only spoke English.
And Liam is just standing there. He loved his mom. He's terrified, but he's frozen. He can't explain her symptoms.
Can't understand the doctor's questions, just feeling completely useless while his mom was suffering.
Like that emotional weight, that's a
Yeah.
massive catalyst.
It is. He made a vow that night that he would never feel that helpless again. But, and this is important, motivation burns out. We've all made vows.
So true.
What makes Liam's story useful for us is that he built a system.
He treated ChatGPT like a strict tutor. Let's break down his routine, because this is something anyone listening can literally start doing tomorrow. It kicks off with the morning diary.
Simple, but so effective. Every morning, he wrote a short paragraph about his routine. I woke up at 7, I made coffee, I felt a bit sleepy. Nothing fancy.
But he didn't just write it and close the notebook.
No, that's just journaling. The learning happens next. He fed that paragraph into the AI and asked for corrections. Then, and this is the magic step, he read the corrected version aloud 5 times.
Why 5 times? Why aloud?
Because your mouth has muscle memory.
Hmm.
If you only read it with your eyes, you're training your brain. If you read it aloud, you're training your tongue, your jaw, your breath.
You're teaching your body what a correct English sentence feels like.
Exactly.
He also used a technique called shadowing with the AI.
Right, this is for pronunciation. He would ask the AI to generate 5 simple sentences and produce the audio. He listens. Then he records himself saying it. Then he listens to both.
Ugh, that is the part everyone hates. Listening to your own voice recording is painful.
It's excruciating. We all hate it. But it's the only objective feedback loop you have if you don't have a teacher. You have to hear the gap between your version and the native version to close it.
The part of Leon's strategy that really blew my mind was the role play. I think most people, including me, we try to do too much. We want to practice business meetings and coffee shop and travel all in 1 week.
And we end up mastering none of them. Liam went the opposite direction. He picked one scenario.
Which was?
Ordering a burger and tea at a restaurant.
A burger and tea, that's it.
That's it. And he stayed there. He didn't move on to the hotel scenario the next day. He practiced that specific burger conversation for 3 days straight.
You played both parts.
He played the customer, he played the waiter. He drilled it until he could do it without thinking.
It's deep learning versus wide learning.
Precisely. And think about the confidence boost. After 3 days, he knew that if he walked into a restaurant, he was bulletproof. If you jump around too much, you're always on shaky ground.
He also had a really healthy relationship with failure, which I think is rare. He kept a mistake journal.
Mistakes equal masters. That was his mantra. Instead of getting embarrassed, he treated errors like data points. For example, he made that classic mistake saying, "I am boring," when he meant, "I am bored."
Oh, I've heard that one so many times. I am boring means I am a boring person.
Hmm.
I am bored means I feel bored.
Huge difference. One is a feeling, the other is an insult to yourself. If you say, "I am boring" at a party, people might just agree with you and walk away.
Okay, thanks for the warning.
Exactly. So Liam wrote this down, but he didn't just look up the grammar rule in a dusty textbook. He went back to the AI.
And he used a prompt that I think is brilliant.
Who was it?
He typed, "Explain this grammar rule like I am 5 years old."
Like, I am 5. That is such a good hack.
It is.
It strips away all the linguistic jargon. No past participles or adjectival phrases, just the logic. If the feeling comes from outside, use ed. If you cause the feeling, use ed. Boom. Done.
And finally, he had the emergency toolkit.
This is for when the panic sets in. He pre-learned phrases to buy time. Can you repeat that slowly?
Let me check how to say this.
Right. It's a safety net, so you never have to freeze completely.
So Liam used high-tech tools to build this system. But we have another set of sources, Mr. English and Easy English, that kind of bring us back down to earth. They remind us that fluency is actually built on the boring stuff.
We tend to romanticize fluency. We imagine ourselves giving a TED Talk in English. But functional fluency is, can you describe your morning routine without stumbling?
Can you navigate the kitchen?
Exactly. And the Mr. English source breaks this down into a really specific sequence of verbs, and they made a distinction I never really thought about.
Wake up versus get out of bed.
They are two different actions. Wake up is eyes open. Get out of bed is feet on the floor. If you're narrating your life, you need that precision.
Then you have brush teeth, wash face, put on clothes. It sounds so basic, almost childish.
So the test is speed, right? That's the key. Can you say, I'm putting on my shoes instantly, or do you have to search for the phrasal verb put on?
If you stumble on these basics,
You will absolutely stumble on the complex stuff. The foundation has to be solid.
they list the whole sequence. Sit at desk, answer emails, cook dinner, wash dishes. These are the verbs of life.
And to practice this, the Easy English Source suggests the Q&A method. They list about 140 common questions.
This is like a rapid-fire drill.
Exactly. Questions like, what time do you usually wake up? Do you like spicy food? How do you get to work?
You shouldn't be constructing these answers from scratch every time.
They should be reflexes.
And the cool thing is, once you have those reflexes, you can ramp it up. The questions start with breakfast, but they end up in much deeper territory.
They do. They move from what did you eat to things like, how do you think AI will affect the job market?
Or, how do you evaluate if a news source is credible? Those are advanced questions.
They are C1 or C2 level discussions. But the point is, you build the bridge to them by mastering the concrete daily questions first. You can't debate the ethics of AI if you can't explain how you made your coffee.
So we've got the internal narration, we've got the AI training camp, and we've got the mastery of daily verbs. But we don't just want to be functional robots. We want to sound like, well, like interesting humans.
We want flavor. We want nuance.
And that brings us to the source, Speak English with Stefani. She dives into specific vocabulary that native speakers use, words that elevate you from a good student to someone who sounds like they really get it.
She highlights 5 words that are really high value.
Let's run through them. First one, dependable.
This is a massive upgrade from just saying someone is good or helpful. If you say a coworker is dependable, you're saying they are trustworthy, they are steady.
You can build a team around them.
Right, it carries professional weight.
Next one, exuberant.
I love this word. It's so much more than happy. It's uncontainable energy.
So if you say she has an exuberant personality.
I immediately picture someone loud, joyful, maybe waving their arms around, laughing loudly. It paints a full picture.
Third one, self-assured.
A strong synonym for confident. But confident can be a show. You can fake confidence.
Self-assured is different.
It implies something internal. It means you are calm in your own skin. You know your worth. You don't need to shout about it.
And that leads perfectly into the next one, reserved.
This is a tricky one for learners. Often, if someone is quiet, a learner will describe them as shy.
But shy usually implies fear or social anxiety.
Reserved is different. It's a choice. A reserved person might be totally self-assured, but they choose to hold back. They choose not to be the center of attention. They're observing.
And the final one, this is definitely the coolest one on the list.
Agrees.
Ride or die.
The slang entry.
It sounds intense.
It is intense. It means extreme loyalty. A ride or die is a person who will stick with you through absolutely anything, good times, bad times, disaster.
Usually a best friend or a partner.
Exactly.
Stefani actually tells a story in the source that connects reserved and ride or die in a way that makes the usage really clear.
Yes, the lunch date story. I love this because it shows how personality and vocabulary mix. So Tiffany is out to lunch with her best friend, her ride or die.
And the drama starts.
The drama starts. An ex-boyfriend, who she has a very messy history with, just walks up and sits down at their table, uninvited.
The audacity.
Right, and he's just talking, making things incredibly awkward. Now, Tiffany's friend is usually reserved.
She's quiet, stays in the background, polite.
But she looks at Tiffany and sees that she is uncomfortable.
And this is where the definition of reserved gets interesting. Being reserved doesn't mean you're weak.
Not at all. The friend looks the guy dead in the eye and says, if you're done, it's okay to walk away.
Oof, mic drop.
The guy gets up and leaves immediately. The lesson there is that even a reserved person can be bold when they are loyal.
When they are a ride or die.
I love that story. It shows that learning vocabulary isn't just about the dictionary definition. It's about understanding the human context.
And when you use words like that, when you can distinguish between shy and reserved, or drop a slang term like ride or die correctly,
you signal to the listener that you understand the culture, not just the grammar. That's what makes you sound native.
And that brings us to the final and I think most philosophical point of this deep dive. We're going back to Liam's story one last time.
Hmm.
Because after all the drills and the shadowing and the mistake journals, he did something that wasn't technical at all.
He created a character, English Liam.
Yeah. He realized that when he spoke English, he felt different. He felt less inhibited. So he leaned into it.
He decided that English Liam is bold.
English Liam makes jokes. He flirts. He doesn't apologize for his accent.
This is actually a well-documented psychological phenomenon called the language ego. When you speak a different language, you aren't bound by the social anxieties of your native culture.
He used it as a tool.
He did. He practiced being this character for 1 hour a day. It's almost like method acting.
It is. He would tell himself, okay, for the next hour, I am English Liam. I don't feel embarrassed. I don't care if I make a mistake.
It's a shield. If you mess up, it's not you messing up, it's the character.
That lowers the stakes so much.
It frees you. And the Dasa supports this too with the idea of immersion. They suggest changing your phone language to English, writing your shopping lists in English.
These are small acts, but they reinforce that identity.
They're pieces of evidence that say, I am a person who functions in English.
It's the difference between saying, I am a student learning English, and...
I am an English speaker.
Exactly. The moment you make that shift in your head, even if your grammar isn't perfect yet, your progress accelerates.
Because you stop fighting the language and start inhabiting it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've covered a massive amount of ground today. Let's recap the system we've built.
We started with the mental block breaking the translation trap by using the inner narrator to describe your world in real time.
Then we opened the toolkit, using AI not just to chat, but to correct your diary, shadow your pronunciation, and deep dive into specific role plays until they're automatic.
We looked at mastering the mundane, the specific verbs of the daily grind, and using that Q&A method to build reflex speed. We added flavor with high-level vocab like exuberant and self-assured.
And finally, the identity shift, putting on the mask of the English persona to bypass your fear.
It's a lot, but you don't have to do it all at once. So here is our challenge to you. We want you to pick one thing from this deep dive to do today.
Just one. Maybe right after this finishes, you narrate your next action. Say out loud, I am taking off my headphones. I am standing up.
Or maybe you start that mistake journal, catch yourself in one error, write it down, and ask AI to explain it like you're 5.
Just do something that moves English from a subject you study to a tool you use.
There's this beautiful moment in Liam's story that I think is the perfect place to leave this.
Yeah.
He talks about the moment he knew he had finally made it. It wasn't when he passed a test. It wasn't when he got a job interview.
It was under the stars?
It was. He was walking home late at night, looking up at the sky, and a thought just popped into his head. He whispered it to himself.
And he realized, only after he said it,
that he had whispered it in English. He didn't translate it. He didn't search for the words. It just came out.
That's the holy grail. When your inner monologue switches languages.
When you can whisper to yourself in English, you've arrived.
That's when the wall comes down.
So go out there, start narrating, start acting, and find your own English, Liam. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
See you next time.